Hello and welcome to the Statement Generator demo. This is part 1 showing the features and settings of Statement Generator. When you start up Statement Generator, the utility will look like the screen that we see here. And mostly we'll be dealing with the 3 tabs here of the Output, the Statement, and the Filters tab. Let's start with the Output tab. The first line we see is the path, which shows the path where output files, our output statements are saved out to. We also have a preview before generating checkbox, which allows the statements to be previewed when it's checked, and when it's unchecked, it'll just straight go ahead and generate the statements without allowing any kind of preview. And we have a visual cue on the button where the name actually changes from preview to generate when it's checked. We also have custom aging buckets where we can have the standard is usually 30, 60, 90, like that. But we can set it to any kind of custom aging buckets that we feel like, say 32, 56, and I don't know, 112, something like that. And when you generate it, your aging buckets will show up in that manner. We can also have a general message which will go out to all statements. So we can say something like maybe Happy Holidays or something like that from your practice. Let's see, and then that will go out on every single statement that gets generated. We have the due date that you can specify a number of days in which the statements will be due. We also have a checkbox that you can enable for using the budget amount for the amount due. So if you have a patient with, let's say, a balance of $500 and they've agreed to go on a budget payment plan, where, let's say, they'll be paying $100 a month, you can use this option to select whether the amount due is going to be shown on the statement, or which is the full $500, or you can just show the $100 because that's what the patient has agreed to pay on what they owe. So you have that kind of flexibility when you're generating the statements. We also have the ability to override what is in MicroMD for what's in the showing for the return address. We usually have standard default set to use the default return address, but if you want, you can uncheck that and then override what's in MicroMD for the name, address, and city, state, zip. In this case, we'll just use the default. We also have the ability to show statements at different payment levels. By default, the payment level is shown at the sequence level, but you can also select none, which just shows statements with just a list of charges, no payments, no write-offs or adjustments. Sequence, as I said, is the default, which gives you what you expect. So say you have a sequence with 3 charges, you'll see each sequence on its own separate section, and then the charges underneath that within each sequence. And each charge will be associated with their payments and write-offs and adjustments for those sequences. And at the end of the sequence will be the balance summary. Finally, you have the charge level that you can show on statements, which breaks down by the charge. So if a visit has 3 charges, I'll show a charge with, let's say there's a $30 write-off, and I'll show the charge with like a $10 write-off, and charge number 2 with another $10 write-off, and so on. It breaks down at each line down to the charge level. This will also show any unapplied for each charge if there's any unapplied associated with it. Next, we have the Statement tab. Here we have different ways you can order your information. You can order by primary, account level, or by the name, or by the zip code. By secondary, again, you can do similar ways. This by default comes up as account and name for primary and secondary. This class you can select for patient or third party is third-party support that you can use to send to different third-party areas like lawyers or accountants or so forth. This bill statement is the same as used in MicroMD. And we also have the ability to apply finance charges. If you don't want, you just uncheck it and you'll have no finance charges. If you select it, you can set your annual rate, your minimum aging days, the days since last charged, and so forth. You can also select which procedure code you want to use for when you're posting these finance charges. And these settings are similar to those places that you want to use finance charges. It looks exactly the same as it is in MicroMD. And as of November of 2009, this utility has addressed and corrected about 4 or 5 bugs that were found in MicroMD. So for example, if a statement was generated 10 days or 90 days ago, MicroMD would always accrue finance charges as if it was on a 30-day cycle. However, this statement generator corrects those bugs.